tutorial you will need the following body measurement to make this top, and I'm going to be making use of this African print fabric here, but you can also use a crepe material or any fabric of your choice. Now the first thing I'm going to do is to fold my fabric into two, just the way you see me doing. So after folding it, I'm going to measure out my bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra 2 inches or all the allowances you are going to be adding. The next thing I'm going to do is to draw a starting line at the top, which will serve as my shoulder line. And from that line I came down to mark the length of my top, which is 18 inches, and I added an extra 1 inch to it as my stitching allowance. Then I rule a straight line across, so this line here is going to serve as my waistline. After doing that, I went ahead to divide my shoulder measurement by 2 and I mark it. Now I'm going to come down from this point by 1 inch to get my shoulder slope, and from this point I will connect it into the shoulder line. The next thing is to determine my armhole depth, and for that take your bust measurement, divide it by 6 and add 1.5 inches to that. So my bust measurement is 37 inches divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches equals to 7.6. So I have 7.6 inches for mine. So I made a point and I just drew a line to meet the shoulder slope. After that, I'm going to rule a straight line across, and this line here will be my chest line. Now I'm going to measure what I have here and divide it into 2 just to get my midpoint. So from the midpoint, I'm going to go in by half of an inch, and on the chest line here, I'm going to divide my bust measurement divided by 4 and mark it. After that, I'm going to connect these 3 points together just to get my armhole. Now on the chest line, I'm going to mark my bust measurement divided by 4 and add an extra 1 inch for stitching allowance. Then coming down to the waistline, I measure my waist measurement divided by 4, and then I added an extra 1 inch as well for stitching allowance. And as you can see, I'm just joining the lines together, and then I'll go ahead and cut this out. After I was done cutting it out, the next thing is for me to determine the neckline. For the neck width, I'm going in by 2.5 inches, and then I came down here by 2 inches and I mark it. So after that, I just made a curve, and then I will go ahead and cut this out. So this is basically how to cut out the back piece. I'm going to fold another piece that I'm going to use as the front, and I have folded it into 2 as well, which is really bigger than my bust measurement divided by 4. So right now I'm going to place the back piece on this new piece of fabric. So guys, when you are placing your back piece on another piece, which is the front, ensure that the armhole area and the side are facing your side, they are facing you. Now I'm going to cut out the armhole area and the side just like you see me doing. So I'm really tracing out every other thing apart from the center back. The next thing I'm going to do is to create the wrap style. So on the waistline here, I will measure from the center to the side on the back. I mean what I have here on the back piece, and just add whatever I have there from the center back all the way to the side. And what I had there was about 9 inches, and I mark it here. And I went up by 2.5 inches and mark it as well. After that, for the neckline, you're going to come down by as many inches as you want it to be. This is what determines how deep your wrap top is. So I'm marking 6 inches down here because I don't want to reveal my boobs at all. So I think going down by 6 inches is the least you should go, because the lower you go, the more revealing your boobs are going to be. But if you are someone who wants to reveal some flesh, then definitely you can try to go down in the bust area. So for this particular one, I marked 6 inches, and then I'm just going to connect from that point to the shoulder. And from the 6 inches point here, I'm just going to connect it to the 2.5 inches I made up around the waist. Now I'll go ahead and cut this out. So this is basically all. This is the front part. It's very easy, and this is how I cut my wrap top. Now if I open it up, it's going to come out like this. Moving ahead, the next thing is to cut out the sleeve. So for the sleeve, this fabric here has already been folded into 4 because I want to cut out the 2 sleeves together. And it's about 11 inches wide. You can make it smaller if you want to, you can make it big. Just make sure your fabric is as wide as possible depending on how big you want it to be. Now measure the full length of my sleeve, which is 22 inches, and I had extra 1 inch as stitching allowance. That was going to give me 23 inches. So I marked 23 inches and then draw a straight line across this point. On this line here, I'm going to measure my round half hole measurement divided by 2, which is 16 inches divided by 2 will give me 8 inches. And I'm going to be adding extra 1 inch to it and mark. From that point, I'll come down here by 4 inches and made a mark. And on this line here, I'll go in by 4 inches as well and mark it. Then I'll use my free hand to make a curve just the way you see me doing. So I will measure my round armhole measurement divided by 2 again, which is 8 inches plus extra 1 inch will give me 9 inches. Now I'm going to connect a slant line from the armhole area all the way to meet the end of the sleeve. So go ahead and do this, and this is just basically how to draft a bell sleeve. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So guys, I decided to give my bell sleeve a kind of V shape at the end. So I'm going to come up by 1.5 inches and mark. And from this 1.5 inches point, I'm going to connect a slant to meet the end of my sleeve. You can go up by 2 inches or 2.5 inches, but 2.5 inches should be the least you should go so that it won't be too much. But what I use for mine is 1.5 inches, and as you can see, I just cut it out. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to start joining the pieces right side facing each other. So I just place the shoulder part together like this, and what I'm going to do is to hold it down with my pin, and I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and stitch it up here and here. So this is what it looks like after stitching it down. The next thing we are going to work on now is the neck area, and for this particular part you can use a bias tape, and you can also use this method I'm using right now, which is to just fold it in like this and then fold it again with about 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch this all the way around, folding it up like this. So this is what it looked like after I was done stitching it around. Now the next thing we're going to work on is to hem the end of the sleeves, and for this I'm going to fold it in like this and then fold it again just the way you see me doing. So I'm just going to head over to the sewing machine to stitch it down to the end, and I'll repeat the same process for the other sleeves as well. So after I was done hemming the end of both sleeves, this is what I had. The next thing I'm going to do now is to attach the sleeve to the top itself, and for this I'm going to pin this sleeve a little bit, and I'm just going to head over to the sewing machine and stitch it down with about half an inch all the way around. After I was done doing that, this is what it looked like. Now I'm going to head over to the sewing machine again and stitch the side from the sleeve all the way to the ends with 1 inch stitching allowance, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side as well. Also, I'm going to hem the end of the top like this and stitch it down all the way to the other end. So guys, I'm done stitching down the side and the end of the top, and this is what it looks like. So I've gone ahead to cut out my wrap rope, and I have it to be 4 inches wide and 40 inches long, and this is what I'm going to be using for the wrap. So now I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and stitch it like this from here all the way to the end. I will repeat the same thing for the other piece as well. Now I'm going to turn this to the right side and then iron it out. So now I'm going to place the rope on this edge here at the center front, and I'm going to hold it down with my pin. I will do the same thing on the other side as well, and then I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and stitch it down. So guys, after I was done stitching it down, here is the final look. It looked perfectly, and I love how the bell sleeve give it that extra flare, and you can see how beautiful it look on me. Thank you so much for watching this video, and don't forget to like, share, comment and hit the subscribe button. See you in my next video. Bye.